All right, go to your y equals. Okay, if you can't remember how to find your factors, you are looking for whatever your two numbers are that we need to multiply to get, which in this case is 63. All right, so you're going to type in 63 divided by x. And then hit second graph to bring up your table. Now, we need two numbers that add to give us what? 16, right? So let's see here. I'm going to scroll. Yep. 9 and 7. So I'm looking at all of these, and most of these right now, nothing adds up to 16. Wait, negative 16, right? But 7 and 9 would work. We just have to figure out what gets the negative. What gets my negative here? Just both of them. Negative 9 plus negative 7 gives me negative 16. So you have x minus 9y, because we're splitting up our factors in the middle. Okay, so x minus 9y and x minus 7y. And I bring my 3 down to be my main answer. Okay, look at number 3. Negative 7k squared plus 9k. What's my GCF here?
Okay.
What else? If it starts with a negative, your negative comes out of your GCF. So I have negative k. And when I divide, what am I left with?
7k
7k
plus 9.
minus 9. Because plus divided by negative is a negative. That's it. All right, moving on. Number 4. Number 4 is a dose problem. I know it's a dose problem because I have a binomial, 2 perfect squares, and even exponents. So, for a for a dose problem, I need double parentheses. What's the square root of 49?
7.
7, so a 7 goes in both parentheses. I'm going to take my exponent and cut it in half. What's x to the 6th in half? X to the 3rd. And then I have 36. What is my square root of 36? We get 6. You leave a little space in between. And then if I chop down y squared, I have y. So my answer is 7x cubed plus 6y, 7x cubed minus 6y. Remember, for dose, it has to be a different sign. So once our original has a subtraction sign, we split them up, plus and minus. So this is my answer. On number 5, this is a soap problem. Ronaldo. What's the cube root of x cubed?
How we did this? We gotta.
What's the cube root of x cubed? Just x. What's the cube root of 64? Or if you dare say 8? Cube root, not square root. 4. Alright, what you guys need for this, you need one normal parentheses and then one larger one. You may have space on your paper to put them side by side. I don't, so I did it on top of each other.
It's not -4, right?
Not yet. You don't. All right, so X and 4. We do our signs later. My first number here is my first number there squared. So what is X squared? Just X squared. My middle number tells me to multiply my two numbers. What's X times 4? My last number here tells me to square my last number. What's 4 squared? So my SOAP are my signs. Same, opposite, always positive. If I start with a negative, what's the same sign?
Negative. Positive. Positive.
Good. That's my answer.
So it's same and then opposite or something?
Yep. Same, opposite, always positive.
So the last one's always positive. You understand?
Yes. Number 6. When I have 4 terms, what do?
Line grouping.
We group it, so we have to draw a dotted line. On the left side, my
X squared.
yeah, good. On the right side, my GCF is what kind of 4?
4.
Be careful there. If it starts with a negative, like this -4 does on that side, you have to keep it. Alright, so I bring down my GCF and then I divide. What is x cubed divided by x squared? Just x. -5x squared divided by x squared.
-5.
-5.
The answer is X squared minus 4. X
On the other side, no, it's not. If I divide, I get x minus 5.
What?
Thank you. I'm thinking all day. So my answer here is my GCF become a factor, x squared minus 4. My matching parentheses become a factor, x minus 5. And again.
So correct.
Run away. Alright. No, Ronaldo, you have to keep going. Can I dose this? I can dose x squared minus 4. This can dose a little further, so we have x plus 2, x minus 2, because the square root of x, just go x, x. The square root of 4 is 2. We bring my x minus 5 straight down.
So that's only if it's can it be negative and positive or -4? Like it doesn't matter. It just
It
needs
has to be a negative for us to dose it.
Oh,
If that was a positive 4, then we can't do anything. It just stays like that.
okay.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Oh, another 5.
you slacked me. Just the best. I'm sorry.
Can we get a 5-minute break?
No. You've got a million breaks.
No, we didn't. Why you lie?
No. Maybe at the end.
6:30.
6? What do you want?
6:30.
6:30. Alright, so we're going to do one of these. Because it's once again factoring. Alright, look at number 4A. How do I solve this? This is my AM method, right? So I need two numbers that multiply to give me -4 and adds to give me -3. So my factor is going to be 4 and 1, but what gets the negative?
Both? Oh, no, no, no.
Both would give me -5 if I add it. The -4 gets a negative. Okay? So, oh, whoa, I lied.
Yeah, you're lying.
Sorry. Alright. Did you guys notice the GCF?
X.
Alright, so your GCF is X. Ronaldo, are you paying attention?
Yeah.
Alright, so now we factored this part, which luckily nothing changed what we just did. Alright, but we have a GCF of X, just move it to the outside. So I have factors of X minus 4, X plus 1 equals 0, and then don't forget to bring your GCF down. Because it says equal to 0, everything is equal to 0. So my X is equal to 0. You can go ahead and box that up because that's an answer. X minus 4 is equal to 0. And X plus 1 is equal to 0. If we solve X minus 4 is equal to 0, X is going to equal what? Positive 4. Just the opposite. And then X is going to equal negative 1. Those are my answers that I will be looking for. We are not going to do letter B. You can do that one on your own to practice.
What we do first one now? GCF.
I will move the 12 over.
Oh, okay.
So you will have 3m cubed minus 4m squared plus 9m minus 12. You actually don't have a GCF because that 12 doesn't. So then you can just split it down the middle. Alright, I'm going to teach you guys something new. I know. It's not that bad. Alright. Actually, you're going to learn 2 new things today. This is the first one. Inverse. Inverse means your X can become your Y and your Y can become your X. Write that down on your paper with the 2 arrows. Okay, so what this means is I'm going to be flip-flopping my X and my Y in order to find the inverse. You guys with me? Alright. It says Y equals 1/3 X minus 5. That's my original problem. I need to find the inverse, so we're going to switch the X and the Y. Instead of Y, I'm going to write what? X equals
1/3 Y.
Perfect. Okay? Don't write too big. Watch you get this. Alright, once we get here, now we just solve for Y. Okay? So we switch them, now we solve for Y. How do I solve for Y here? Yep. You guys are good at solving, so we're just going to add 5 to both sides. And I'm left with X plus 5 is equal to 1/3 Y.
That wouldn't be X.
Nope, because we're adding it. We are multiplying it now. Alright, how do I get rid of this 1/3?
Multiple.
Go multiply by 3. Okay? And you could divide by 3, but that may get... No, you could not. You'll have to multiply by 3. So multiply both sides by 3, which is the reciprocal. You guys remember that word, reciprocal?
Nah.
I'm running out of room, but multiply both sides by 3. So that means my 1/3 and my 3 cancel out because I multiplied by the reciprocal. So I have Y equals on the right side. On the left side, what's 3 times X? What's 3 times 5? So this is my answer for the inverse. Okay? They gave us this problem, said find the inverse. We flip-flop the X and Y, and then you solve for Y. So Y equals 3X plus 15. Alright, on letter B, let's rewrite this. this f of x really just means y equals 2x squared plus 4. If I wanted to find the inverse, what do I need to do first? Flip-flop. So I have x equals 2y squared plus 4. This one's a little difficult. Are you paying attention, Alex? Okay, so how do I get y by itself? Minus 4 to both sides. So I'm left with x minus 4 is equal to 2y squared divided by 2. So I have y squared is equal to x minus 4 divided by 2. This part is what we just learned. How do I get rid of the power of 2? You take the square root. So I'm going to take the square root on both sides. What happens to my square root on the right side? It's gone. My power and my root are gone. So I'm left with y equals. And because I actually drew this radical in, I need plus or minus. And I'm just going to keep this how it is. You don't have to try to simplify it. Just keep it x minus 4 divided by 2. That one's a little more difficult, but...
What's the difference between the x minus?
X minus 1/2, or 1/2 x minus 2, because in front of this x is really a 1. Okay? So that's the new thing. That's one new thing. My second new thing I want to teach you is kind of new. Kind of new, kind of not. Dividing polynomials. All right? This is what we did in the beginning of the year. I have a factor of x minus 2, but I need to have it x equals. What's the opposite of negative 2? Positive 2. Alright, now let's look at my polynomial that they want me to divide. 4x to the 4th minus 2x squared plus x minus 1. Do you guys remember that everything has to be in order? If my highest exponent is x to the 4th, what comes next? Third, and then the second, and then the first, and then your number, right? You need to have all that when we have our equation here. So this should be 4x to the 4th. Do I have the cube? No, so I'm going to write in plus 0x cubed. Do I have the x squared? Yes, so minus 2x squared. Do I have the x? Yep. Plus x, so I have the number, yep.
So every time I switch the sign?
No, I'm just taking the sign that it gave me. Negative 2x squared, negative 2x squared. Positive x, negative 1, negative 1. Don't get tired. Alright, draw your little L chart. Oh, it's this. Yes. On the outside, you're putting your 2. On the inside, you are putting all the first numbers. 4, 0, negative 2, basically 1, and then negative 1. Yep, you're putting that all right here. 4, 0, negative 2, 1, negative 1. Alright, pay attention to what we're doing, because you guys kind of struggle here. What happens to this first number here of 4? No. No.
Oh no, you move it.
Move it where?
No, down.
Down. Your first number goes straight down.
Now you multiply.
Now you multiply to the side. So what's 4 times 2? 8. I add going down. So 0 plus 8. Multiply 2 times 8. Add negative 2 plus 16. Negative 2 plus 16. So Ronaldo, remember we add going down, we multiply diagonally. Okay, so 14 times 2. I add going straight down. I multiply 29 times 2.
Is it 48?
Nope. What is it? 51. 58. And then if I add going down, you get 57. Alright, if you guys remember, we did this and looked at our last number to see if we got a 0. If we got a 0, then it was a factor. If we did not, then it was not a factor. This part is new. Please write what I'm writing. I want you guys to draw dotted lines in between your numbers, your groups of numbers. So you should have 4, then 8, then 14, then 29, then 57. Okay? Your last number that we used to check on is your remainder. So just write an R. That's what we were checking to see if it was 0 or not. After the remainder, I'm going to go back upwards from my standard form. So this will be my number. Next I have my x. What's after x? X squared. What's after x squared? X cubed. If there are more numbers here, I will keep going up all the way. Okay, but we always start the remainder, then our number, our x, and then we go from there. The reason we're doing it this way is because they're asking us to divide. They're not asking, is anything a factor? Okay? So, notice how the lines keep everything separated. My 4 is associated with what? So that's 4x cubed. My positive 8 is associated with what? My positive 14, it's just x. And positive 29 is just your number. You don't have to write the number symbol. And then my remainder is 57. What we do is we do plus 57, because it's a positive number, divided by our factor up here of x minus 2. I don't know if this is on your midterm, exactly like this, but I needed to teach it to you. Not yet.
Okay. I actually gotta go.
Actually, yeah, you can go. Okay, does this make sense?
Yeah.
The only part that's new is that we divided everything up. We start with our remainder, we go up to numbers, and x squared, and x cubed. So this answer is like when someone says, what's 10 divided by 2? 5, right? That's basically the same thing. It's like, what's this polynomial divided by that factor? You got that answer. Okay? That is the easier way that I can teach you than showing you the long division. Trust me, you do not want to do the long division. I am not going to do letter B for you. You can do it on your own. But let's go ahead and check it. Am I missing anything from this guy? Yeah, so I have x to the 4th. Do I have the 3rd? No, so 0x cubed. Do I have the 2nd?
No.
Do I have x?
No.
Actually, let me write it up. You can actually write this on your paper too. So you can do it. So this is x to the 4th plus 0x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x. I have my number though, minus 16. So we start with the highest exponent, 4. We go down, 3, 2, 1. Once we get to 1, we do our number. So when they ask you, is this a factor, you don't have to do these lines, okay? We did this to find out what our answer was. When they say, is it a factor, you're looking to see whether, when you plug this in, 1, 0, 0, 0, negative 16, what number is going to be on the outside?
4.
Positive 4. Once you do this, we are looking for this last number to be a 0. If it's a 0, then it is a factor. If it is not a 0, then it is not a factor.
Wait, why is it 2?
That's a question mark.
First it was 2.
No. You're going to do this problem, and then whatever number you get here, if it's a 0, then it is a factor. If it's not a 0, then it's not a factor. All right, turn to the next page. For number 19, what you want to do, this is solving system of equations. For some reason, you guys struggle with this one really bad. I'm not too sure why. Since you did 3, all you have to do here is solve for y and plug it in. So take this first equation. Negative 2x squared is equal to 4y. How do I solve for y? So y equals negative 2x squared divided by 4. Alright, that's one y equals. For my other equation, I have this guy. Off to the side, solve for y. Do you know why we're solving for y? Because you can plug it in. That's exactly why. So I'm going to subtract 12 from each side. And I'm left with 2x squared minus 12 is equal to 2y. Divide by 2. So you're left with y equals 2x squared minus 12 divided by 2. All I did there was just solve for y. Once you have those two things, solve for y, grab your calculators. You guys have them? Are you still solving? Grab your calculators. Let's type this in. Go to your y equals. If you have a fraction, I highly recommend you put the top in parentheses. So let's do the top in parentheses negative 2x squared, close parentheses, divided by 4. That's the first one that we did in red. The one in purple, go to your second y equals. Put the top in parentheses, 2x squared minus 12 divided by 2. And graph it. Once you graph this, I need to find solutions. How many solutions do I have here? 2. We are crossing, the red graph and the blue graph are crossing at this point and at that point. Sometimes you can see it clearly, but if you can't, you're going to hit second trace. Which one do you think you need? Intersect. So you hit number 5. What? That's too high. Did yours say first curve right here?
Yeah.
All right, hit enter 3 times. And it will estimate for you. You should get -2, -2. So write that down. That is one of your solutions. -2, -2.
So it would be positive.
Almost. Not positive, positive. You get to the next one, you have to do it again. Second trace, number 5. And hit enter 3 times. +2, -2. Okay? So those are your solutions.
I think just frozen that.
Sometimes it does that. So those are your solutions. We're not going to do the second one because that's already in y equals. All you have to do is type it into your calculator and then find your intersection. So it doesn't.
It's not frozen, it's I can move it when I first enter.
You're doing second trace.
Like the first one you did.
It's frozen. All right, last one that we're going to do together. Look at this one. All right, write the equation of the graph in factored form. How many zeros do I have here?
1.
I have 1?
3.
So we have 1,
Oh, I didn't see it.
2. Do you guys agree that we have 3?
Yeah,
What if I said we had 4?
kind of do.
Would you agree with that?
No.
No.
Do you see how my first 0 is going through the line, right?
We do have.
This is called what? It's like it's touching it twice.
Double root.
Double root, good. So we have 4 zeros. Do we see that? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is double root because it's not going through my graph. You see how it touches the x-axis, it comes back down? That's our double root. So it's touching it twice. So I have x equals, what are my zeros here? What's the first one?
-3.
Yep, x is -3, then x is what?
1.
1, but it's double root, so x is 1 again. And what's my last one? X is 4. Alright, once we get here, I have my zeros. I can change these to factors. What is the opposite of -3? Positive 3. It's just like if I were to make it equal to 0. Alright, my second 0 is going to be x minus 1. My third is going to be x minus 1. My last is going to be x minus 4. All you have to do is write down your factors for your equation. It's saying write an equation for the graph in factor form. So I have x plus 3, x minus 1. I'm going to just square this. I don't want to write it twice. You can just write
I'm
square.
opening the door. I'm
Okay.
leaving. I'll go get my eyes dilated and have all that kind of fun.
Oh, have fun.
I just love that.
Yeah.
And the little blowy thing. They go,
Oh,
"Now
that's the
don't
worst.
blink." I go, "You're fixing to shoot air into my eye.
I
I'm
always
not supposed
do
to
it.
blink." No.
Yeah, that's the worst.
No.
Good luck.
All right. They're in here. They're doing their thing.
Okay. That's my answer. X plus 3, x minus 1 squared, and x minus 4. They're good. They're mature freshmen. We don't worry about them. Are there any questions on number 21? I am not going to make you do number 22. Guys, listen up. Number 22, I don't think we talked about it much this year, but I still put it on the answer key, so if you wanted to try it. The difference with number 22 is that they're giving us our zeros. So I have x equals 3 and x equals I. The tricky thing is when we have I, you also basically have the plus or minus. So you basically have x equals 3, x equals I, x equals negative I. So if you wanted to do this and you could factor it yourself, you would have x minus 3, x minus I, and x plus I. But this may confuse you guys big time. So I'm not going to make you do it. Okay? So you guys have about 5 minutes. I highly suggest, that you do the ones that we did not do, or you finish some from the homework. Use this time wisely.
This and the ones that we didn't do?
No, I already checked your homework. Whatever your homework grade is, I already put it in your grade report.
Well, I'm fine with that percent. I thought this was gonna be the one.